Premier League clubs have major concerns that the plans to expand the Champions League will lead to unfeasible fixture congestion and the potential for European matches to be staged on the same day as top division domestic games. And that's the information that's been given to our senior reporter, Rob Dorset, who joins me now. So, look, what does this actually mean for the English clubs? Is this bad news?
Yes, from what I'm being told, from the executives I've been speaking to, it is bad news. I mean, look, remember we told you a few weeks ago that there is outcry across European football clubs and European leagues as a whole, generally about UEFA's plans, but specifically within the Premier League, the clubs outside the Big Six are really angry about this.
Yeah.
One senior executive told me that this was European Super League light, if you like, and we know what all the issues were with regards to the European Super League, and the feeling was that this was UEFA trying to bring some of those elements in through their own competition, the Champions League. Now, this latest concern is about fixture congestion.
Okay.
There are simply not enough days in the week. There aren't enough gaps in the English calendar, according to some of the executives that I've spoken to accommodate UEFA's plans. At the moment, there's been an agreement between UEFA and Premier League that they don't play games on the same day.
Yep.
Now, we've seen that happen a little bit during the pandemic, that they've had to, but going forward, there is a belief that this would be inevitable under UEFA's plans. And let's show you some of the statistics we're talking about here, Vicky, because as things stand at the moment, look, we have 6 group games in the Champions League, which leads to a total of 125 Champions League matches, OK?
Right.
Now, have a look at this bottom one, 10 group games, because that's what UEFA is proposing, an extra 4 group games for every club that makes it to the Champions League. That leads to 100 more games.
Wow.
An 80% increase in the size of the Champions League. It's huge.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm told the Premier League are lobbying against behind the scenes, and a number of clubs and the European leagues, which is a powerful organisation in its own right, are lobbying against. And they're going for this middle ground. They're saying, let's compromise. We accept that you want more games, UEFA, but instead of 6 that we've got now, and instead of 10, let's go for 8 group games, which would lead to 189 Champions League games in total throughout the season. That's a 50% increase on what we've got now. We wait to see how UEFA responds to that, and they're still being lobbied very hard behind the scenes. But remember, they're having their ExCo meeting a week tomorrow, actually. It is the 10th. No, it is today. A week today. The 10th of May. Let me get my dates right. A week today, the 10th of May, in Vienna, their ExCo meeting, and they will vote on this. So in a week's time, we'll know. But you can see that a lot of clubs are up in arms about the idea.
Dare I ask the question, why are they doing this? If it ain't broke, you know, why are we fixing it?
Well, the experts have told me that it's about finances and it's about appeasing the bigger clubs. They want to expand the Champions League. It's already going from 32 clubs to 36 clubs, remember. All of these plans are from 2024 onwards. And the idea is that if the bigger clubs are happier with the format of the Champions League, they're less likely to break away. That's what the altruistic side of UEFA is trying to do, to keep the integrity of their competition going. But they also want to make money. And the more games they have, they believe, the more money they will make. Although experts have told me that actually the more games you have dilutes the quality, might lead to some broadcasters actually bidding less to try and host the Champions League, because you don't just get to cherry pick the games you want, you have to show the lot. So we wait to see. I'm
glad you used the word cherry picking, because there's a term wildcard. Explain what's going on there.
Well, this is what we revealed to you a couple of weeks ago, isn't it? The UEFA wildcard system, and this has been the most controversial. The idea is that if one of the elite clubs in Europe doesn't qualify for the Champions League by its own domestic league, it may be given one of 2 wildcards to play anyway, on the basis that they've done well in the competition in the past, historically, so they get a safety net. And there is an awful lot of anger against that. That sounds very much like the Super League, because a lot of the clubs and the officials I've been speaking to say that goes against the idea of sporting integrity. Now, 3 weeks ago when we reported it, it looked inevitable that it was going to happen. UEFA were going to ratify this and put it through. The lobbying, the amount of work, the amount of noise that's been going on behind the scenes since we made that report a few weeks ago has been extraordinary, I'm told. UEFA is under huge pressure to drop this idea of wildcards. And if it does, it could lead to huge benefits for some of the smaller leagues in Europe, who will take the benefit of an expanded Champions League, 36 teams instead of 32, and they may get automatic entry to the group stages of the Champions League. Now, let's have a look, because who does that mean? In the Scottish Premiership, of course, it potentially means that's a huge benefit to Rangers and Celtic. Now, not just those. Of course, anybody who wins the Scottish Premiership would benefit from this, but not since 1985 has anybody other than Rangers or Celtic won the Scottish Premiership. So these two like the idea, in particular, of these wildcards going. At the moment, we found out yesterday that because UEFA has cracked down on Russian teams, they're going to get automatic entry to the group stages of the Champions League, whoever wins the Scottish Premiership title this season. Okay. But we're talking about what happens from 2024 onwards, remember. And if UEFA does drop this plan for wildcards, it's going to have a bigger competition, but nobody making automatically
you have to qualify.
Door. You have to qualify.
Right? Okay.
And it may well mean that the Scottish Premiership, which is currently on UEFA's coefficient of 9th, it's the 9th strongest league in Europe as far as UEFA are concerned. With these extra places, it may well be that year on year, from 2024, whoever wins the Scottish Premiership gets into the Champions League knockout stage, into the group stages. That's huge, potentially, for Rangers and Celtic. They very much like that idea. So the Scottish Premiership, I understand, has been lobbying UEFA behind the scenes as well. An awful lot still going on. UEFA coming under increasing pressure here all the time to change its plans. Remember, a week today, we'll find out. Kaveh Sologol, our chief reporter, will be in Vienna for that hearing, for that ExCo meeting. That's when we'll finally get the answers to all of these issues.
I'd love to hear what Klopp and Pep have to say about fixture congestion as well.